नमः शिवाय। माय डियर मनीष, माँ बाबूजी वंशावली का एक फूल जो पूरी तरह खिलने के पहले ही मुरझा गया, वो था मनीष, मेरा चहीता भांजा। He was born on 23rd March 1967 and left us on 1st July 1995. Many people in our family may not even be aware of Manish. Those who know of him may not know much about him, and others may not know his entire story since it was shrouded in mystery to some extent. Hence, I thought it is important to share this with the Daruka family, at least from my perspective, so that his memory does not fade away completely. Manish was very close to me. He was also very close to Ma. He would share and confide many things to Ma when he came to Jutika. He started doing the same with me, mainly through his writings, and when I was staying at the Oberoi Hotel with me, when he would visit me there regularly. I had already left for Bahrain in America in 1981 when he was 14 years, but he started writing to me regularly. Our bond was based upon many similar traits. We went to the same school, admired our principal, Mrs. Daruwala, tremendously, enjoyed English literature, loved books and reading, frequented the British and American libraries in Churchgate, loved foreign movies. We were both foodies. We were both introverts, did not get along with our fathers, and had a rebellious streak in us. We both loved to read and write poetry to express our feelings. So it was easy to bond and for me to see and understand the sadness inside him that was killing him silently. Manish was very similar to my friend Vinod, who also had a very difficult life, mainly because of his father. Manish was a gentle and delicate bud who was not allowed to blossom by his immediate family. That was his karma as well as theirs. As he got into his teen years, he started feeling repressed by his parents and Chachiji, his grandmother, who all lived in a joint family until they separated later. Even after they separated, Chachiji, whom he called Ma, had almost a stranglehold on him, and he was heavily under her influence. In addition, his Tauji, who lived in the US, had an undue influence on him, made false promises to an innocent child that he had no intention of fulfilling. And in spite of being Manish's role model and hero, he let him down, causing deep emotional scars on Manish's psyche. Manish was too young and naive and innocent to see through his Tauji's shenanigans, but the damage had already been done. Actually, the story starts with Manish's relationship with his own father. That followed, for the most part, the relationship between his father and grandfather, whom he called Pitaji. It was one of repression, scuttling Manish's hopes and desires and wishes in the bud, failing to understand Manish's innermost feelings and dreams, forcing him to go deeper into his introversion and making him seek help and sympathy wherever he could. Whenever I saw him in family gatherings, he would stay quiet and aloof, lost in his own world. Only when I met him on a one-on-one basis, Manish would open up with me. Underlying this deep, complicated family situation that Manish found himself in, there were two important factors that governed his own behavior and destiny. First, Manish knew from an early age that he was born with a silver spoon, if not a golden one, in his mouth. That was not too difficult to realize for anyone, even from the outside, observing the rich, racy lifestyle of the Poddar family, based mainly on false appearances. Manish became very cognizant of this and sensitive to this aspect of his daily life and started developing a sense of entitlement. This feeling was stoked to a large extent by Chachiji and his Tauji, causing him to rebel against his parents and spend more time closer to his grandmother and Tauji. He wanted his share of the silver spoon that he was born with, which his grandmother, his Tauji, and his father refused to give him. When you are a teenager, growing up and moving from school to college, you have many needs outside of your life at home. And for that, you need pocket money. I remember when I was growing up, even the concept of pocket money did not exist, and I got none. After completing college, when I started my CA articleship, my first monthly stipend was 60 rupees, and the joy I felt was unbounded. I could finally do what I wanted. I was already 20 at that time. So it was not difficult to understand why Manish felt so frustrated at having to ask his parents and grandmother for every penny and have to give them an account of where he spent it. He started looking for ways to be independent and out of their shackles and set sights on the USA through his Tauji, who of course let him down because he had his own agenda with his own brother and his own axe to grind. The second factor that governed Manish's destiny and life, the short life, was sex. Again, as a growing teenager, especially as a boy in India, your hormones are raging and on overdrive. You need an outlet for their release. Such outlets do not exist in India outside of marriage. Manish went to an all-boys school. There was no concept of dating or interacting with girls. And in any case, he belonged to a conservative and hypocritical Marwari family that would not tolerate such things. The sexual urges and needs keep getting repressed, creating a volcano of unreleased hormones that bursts forth in unhealthy and unpleasant manner or converts itself into energy blockages in the body. Marriage was the only outlet for Manish to express his sexual urges. His family had no plans to get him married, since they thought he was not normal, or perhaps even sick, and they may not get a match befitting their quote-unquote status. Manish descended into a deep, dark hole. At one point, he discussed with me the possibility of becoming a gigolo to fulfill his sexual desires. As an aside, for those of you who may be too shocked to read this or hear this and living in their own bubble, it was very common even in Bombay in Manish's time for gigolos to exist, to cater to women of the upper class, including Marwari housewives. It was so common and well known that even a young and innocent person like Manish was aware of it and wanted to use it to whet his own sexual appetite, as well as get some pocket money. The other mystery that surrounds Manish was his going to Anand for engineering studies. I was in the US at that time and not privy to what exactly happened, except to hear vague tidbits about tantric influence, etc., none of which made sense. He did write to me from there, but did not share much of what was happening or how he ended up there in the first place, a very unlikely place for his sort. It shall remain part of the mystery that surrounded him. After his passing away, I went to our school to meet Mrs. Daruwala and institute an annual prize in his memory. She fondly remembered him and was very happy to have him remembered every year as an illustrious student of the school. Manish was a very intelligent and sensitive individual who was born in the wrong family at the wrong time. His potential remained unfulfilled. He was looking for love and understanding, and he got neither. From a spiritual and healing point of view, repression of any kind is a root cause of various blockages, which in turn create health issues that manifest in the physical body. Manish's asthma was directly related to the repression he experienced during his adolescent years and onwards. The Vishuddhi Chakra is about expression. And because of the repression and him not being able to express himself, it got blocked and it manifested in the form of asthma, a very common occurrence. And finally, he succumbed to it. He had spoken with me just a few weeks earlier. I was in Bombay at that time, to help him find a girl to get married. He would come and visit me in the Oberoi Hotel where I was staying, and we would talk for hours. Ma Baoji's Vanshavali is vast and varied. The Daruka Goenka blood flows thick and rich through our bodies. There is much to learn from each other's life experiences, good and bad. The older generation is well set in its conditioning. The younger generation still has an opportunity to explore the richness of Ma Baoji's legacy. On his 54th birthday, which just passed, this is my memory of my dear Manish, who was also very close to Ma. He will always be that lost but not forgotten member of Ma Baoji's Vanshavali. Om Namah Shivaya.